Hello there guys, welcome back to another C# tutorial. In the previous video we covered buttons. We didn't cover everything but the basic idea behind them. Okay, and today we're gonna cover a little control which is a text box. We will also cover a few properties and see how it is kind of similar to a button, how a number of properties are common, and we might learn a few other things. Okay, so we're gonna start a new Windows application, Windows Forms application, and then we're gonna hit OK here. And we have this little form, as you can see. And in the previous work we put buttons, right? But today we are gonna go for text boxes. I'm gonna drag one here and drop it on the form. Okay. One of the first differences you might notice that there's only two handles. Okay, unlike a button where you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so you can change any size you like, but this one doesn't. You can only change left and right, and that's it, right? And also when you click this one, you have this little things here. You can click it and you will see something here, which is text box tasks. And basically some controls have this one, okay, which will place the most commonly used commands next to the button so that you don't have to go to the properties. You can change this one from the properties window. Okay, so let us first experience with do some experiments with this one before we change things. So I'm going to delete the button, so we have only the text box, and we're going to run this one. And this is the text box. I can write something into it, no problem. I can select part, I can delete, okay, I can right click, I can do paste and select all, etc, etc, which is very straightforward, which is very easy. Okay, so far so good, right? Okay, now if I want to press enter, it doesn't allow me simply because this is a single line text box. Okay, so if you want to display more than one line, you can just click here and check the multi-line property, and suddenly when you click this one you will find all the anchor points of all these small boxes available, which means you can change its height, you can change its width, or you can change them both by dragging in a diagonal manner. Okay, so let's try to work on this with this one. Okay, so I'm gonna write something, press enter. Now it's working. Write something, enter, 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 and so on. Okay, so far so good. So far this is quite interesting. Now, what if you want something to be displayed in the text box as soon as the application runs? Well, like the button has text property that we changed last video. This one has a text property as well. So you go to the properties window here, and we can say hello there, and enter. If we go back and see the designer, there's a hello there, and we can run this one here. Okay, this is hello there, right? This is the first thing. The second thing is that you can double click the form, and when the form loads you can change that at runtime, okay, like the buttons. So here we can say textbox1.text equals this text has been written in the load event. Okay, so I'm going to run this one, and you can see this text has been written in the load event. And if you have a look at the forms CS, you can still see the design time property. So when the application starts running, the load event get executed, and this text will get replaced with the new one. So you can set the text by using what? By using the text property. Okay, so now let's make something that is kind of stupid, but it does something. Well, we will ask the program, or we will enter our name to the program, and the program is gonna say hello. Okay, so here I'm gonna change this one into enter your name and enter. That's fine. And I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna drag and drop a button. I'm gonna change this to press me. So let's go back here. It's gonna be press me. So press this button. Sorry about the strange capital small, Anyway, so when you press the button, you want to take the text and display hello before that. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say this dot text, which text equal. So I'm gonna display hello in the title of the window. Okay, equals hello, and I'm gonna add to the word hello what is written in text box 1. Okay, so this represents the whole control. I cannot combine the whole control with the string hello. I need to get the text in it. So I'm gonna say dot text. Okay, yeah, that's as simple as that. So when we run this one, I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna say Smith, and I'm gonna press this one. Hello, Smith. As you can see, very stupid, but again, it's very essential to understand. You have to understand the idea behind it. So whenever you want to do something with the text box, when the user inputs some data, later on you will have to get the data from the text box using the text property. This is the point of this simple example. And whenever you want to fill, here we're getting it in here. So the other thing is that whenever you want to fill the data in the text box, you can use the same property. Okay, and you fill the data, okay, to display something. So now we're gonna do something that is kind of, also not very useful, but kind of a little bit more complicated. Sorry, drinking some milk tea here. Okay, because it's kind of cold. Anyway, so we are gonna make a counter. There will be a text box with a number. We will add 1 into that. So I'm gonna drag and drop a text box here, and I'm gonna put a button. Okay, and I'm gonna call this add 1. So this is gonna be add 1. Enter. And this is gonna be what? This is gonna be a number. So I want it to display a 0 at the beginning. So what should we do? We should get this one, add 1 to it, and display it again. So come here. I'm gonna say int value. Now, why I'm using integer? Because I can only add to numbers that are, the data type that I can add to are integer numbers, real numbers, decimals, and so on. I cannot add to strings, so this is why I'm using an integer here. And the value will, I'm gonna take it from the text box. Okay. Now, what's the name of the text box? I forgot to check its name. So let's go back here. If you forget the name, you just click the text box. You go to the properties window and you will find the name here, or maybe if you scroll up, you will find also on the name property. Okay, so it's text box 2. Maybe I'm gonna change that into something more meaningful, which is gonna be counter. Okay, so it is called counter. So I'm gonna say counter dot text. Now we're gonna have a problem, but let us run the code. I'm gonna run this and I get an error as expected. Okay, so what does it say? Why there's an error? Cannot implicitly convert type string to integer. So what that means, let me just remove this one. Okay, so this one is of type string. This returns a string. The text property returns a string, and this one is an integer. You cannot put a string into an integer. You have to convert that into an integer. Okay, so in order to solve this, it's very easy. well, you write int dot, there's a method called parse. This one will receive a string and it is gonna return an integer. So you can see here from the definition, int, which is the type returned from this function, int.parse. Int in this case represents the class of integer numbers, and parse is the method that will receive what a string in this case can receive the text written the counter. Okay, so we get this one, no problem. And then I'm gonna run this one. So it is working. Nothing appears on the screen. Why? Because we are just moving the value from here, converting it into copying the value from here, converting it to integer, and putting the integer into the variable value. We didn't do anything else. So I'm going to say value equals value plus 1, which means increase the value by 1. And finally, I want to display the result. So I'm going to say counter.text equals value. Okay, we're going to get an error here, but let me just show you. Okay, I'm going to run this. Again, error, but this time cannot implicitly convert type of int to string. Now this is the reverse case. This one is an integer, this one is a string. You cannot put an integer into a string. They must both be strings. So a very simple thing to do here. This is integers are being treated like objects. So all you have to do, you just put a dot and you say to string. So convert that integer into a string and you put it here. Okay, so here we did a little bit more complex work, right? We got the text from we converted it, we did some processing, and we converted it back and displayed it in the control. So let's run this and add one again, and so on. So we have this little counter. Isn't that nice? Okay. Okay. So what if, well, you might want to do something that is a little bit more complex. Let's say, create a very simple calculator, okay, but this time one that calculates, not the one like the previous tutorial that doesn't do anything at all. We want to enter two numbers, press a button, we do something like, for example, find the average or find the sum, subtract it, or something like that. So let's go back to our form here, and I'm gonna see. Okay, make this a little bit bigger. Okay, and what are we gonna do? We are gonna put a text box that will hold the first number, and another text box that will hold the second number. Okay, this is gonna be text box 2, this text box 3. I don't like these names, so I'm gonna change this into N1 and N2, or maybe TXN1, which means text box N1, and this one is gonna be TXN2, which is text box for the second number. And I'm gonna put a button. I'm gonna say sum. I'm gonna call this btn sum. So this is gonna be the sum, and the text property is gonna be add. Okay, so this is gonna be the first number, second number, and we're gonna add them. And let me add another text box here, and this one is gonna be what? Sorry, this is gonna be for the result. So I'm gonna say tx result. Sorry, tx result. Enter. Okay, so I'll have to get the first value from here, the second value from here, and yeah, and we are going to add the result and display it in here. So we go to the add method, okay, and we are gonna say, like in the previous example, int n1 equal int.parse txn1.text. So we get the first number, int n2 equal int.parse and txn2.text. So we get the value from the second number, Now we're gonna add them. So int n3 equal n1 plus n2. Okay, we are adding them, and finally we're gonna display the final answer. So here we have tx result dot text equals n3 dot to string. Okay, so the result are converting string. So it's very similar to this one, except that we repeated this step twice, and yeah, we used another variable here and added the two variables in here. So it's kind of similar, right? Let's see if it works. So I'm gonna say 44 with 66, and you get 110. Okay, so yeah, this is basically, you know, what you can do with text boxes. Uh, Obviously, there are a lot of things that you can do. You know, more things that you can do with the text boxes, but probably we will examine things more in the next tutorial. In the next tutorial, we are gonna work with text boxes and buttons to create a complex calculator. Okay, and there we will, you know, learn more properties. Okay, like for example, how to change the fonts, how to change colors and stuff like that. Okay, how to, you know, yeah, fonts and color I think will be enough, but you know, the idea is to make you comfortable with text box control before moving to the next to the next one. Okay, so that will be all for today. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Bye bye.